Greetings, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm Lady Starfire, and today I want to talk to you about choosing your witch's name. Now, there's, can be a lot to go into it, or it may be really simple for you. It's, kind of different for each person. A witch's name is a name that you use when you're practicing magic. When you're casting circle, when you're calling on your quarters, calling your deities. And it's a very private name. Okay, this is not a name that you tell anyone else. This is very private between you and your deities and quarters, because of the fact that this name can be used against you, just like your blood, your urine, your fingernails, your hair, all those things I've talked to you about before that you needed to guard. Your witch's name is another one of those things, because the name that you choose as your personal private name needs to be very important to you and a direct connect. Okay, so in other words, numerologically, it would equate to you just like your own name. Okay, so when choosing this name, take your time and choose it carefully. Make sure it has real meaning to you. Okay. Your private name is not one of those that you're going to choose Grand Fairy Moonflower or whatever crap, okay? It's a name that should have meaning to it, okay? It doesn't matter. It can be Moonflower if that's what really means something to you, but it needs to make you feel witchy, all right? That's one of the most important things, is this name needs to make you feel witchy. It's just like putting on your robe and having all your stuff set up and all of this. You're transforming yourself out of the mundane into the magical. All right. So choosing this name is an important step. All right. So, and I'm going to teach you a few ways to, maybe help you come up with a name, but I want to go ahead and talk to you also about your public name. Now, you also may be, at some point be part of a coven. You're going to choose a different name for that coven. Your private name still needs to remain private. Okay. So now, you join a coven, you're going to use a certain name, with them. So you're going to choose a different name. And then if you are a public witch, like I am, then you're going to have a public name. Now, your public name, number one, needs to not resonate numerologically to you, because you don't want it to be able to be used against you. My public name is Lady Starfire. Okay, so it's a name that you can go by when you're at festivals or in groups or whatever. Okay. So, but this one should not resonate to you numerologically, so that, once again, it cannot be used against you. It needs to be a name that you like to be called, all right, and that has some kind of meaning to you, but it's a more fun name, okay? That when you go someplace, and it can be simple, it can be elaborate, it's really up to you, okay? So, the Lady Starfire was something that when I was trying to find one, somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I've got the perfect name for you." I said, "Okay, what is it?" And they told me Lady Starfire. And I said, "Okay, why?" And she says, "Well, because you're always a lady. Me being here and opening up my shop and, doing all the things for people that I was doing," she said, "was like the stars coming out." And she said, "And I was always full of fire." I said, "Okay, I'll take it." It worked. And I made sure numerologically that I was okay and all that stuff. And that has been my name ever since. And that's been like 22 years. So, but, choose your names. They're really, really important. So, going back to your beginning name, your private, personal, magical name. And yes, it is something you can change over time. Somebody accidentally finds out, it's okay. Disconnect with it, cut cords with that name, whatever, and choose another one. It can be done. So, first, think about it. what is something that, really means something to you. You might do a variation of your name. So maybe in another language, that pronunciation, or just something that has maybe always resonated. I don't know, maybe from a movie or whatever that had to do with, somebody magical, and maybe you just really associated with that one. And so you choose that as a name, because it can be a normal type name that you just simply choose to say, hey, this is, what I want to be called, in circle. Okay. And that's what you do. But it's got to mean something. It just really, really does. Now, for those that are, are taking my classes, if you have my class book, all right, which is A Year and a Day, okay, on page 90, I think it starts at the bottom of 89, but on page 90, it actually, I don't know if you can possibly see this or not. Anyway, it gives you some different things, all right? So your chart, you number from 1 to 9 going across, and then you start doing your letters across to get to the end. And so you can use this to, figure out a name. You take your birth date, and then that can equate down to letters. There's just a lot of different ways of using this, depending on, what feels comfortable to you, what works for you. There's another really interesting thing in here that uses the tarot. And it's a process that you go through in shuffling the cards and asking, but you will, choose cards, just randomly choose cards, or, you shuffle them, lay them out, different things. But the cards that you pull, and you just pull a few at first, but each card has a sound to it. Okay. So like the Ace of Wands is BA, so ba. And so once you get this combination of letters based on, going through this technique, you rearrange them, maybe add something to it, take something away, and see what you come up with. Some people never find something doing it that way, but I've had a lot of people that have had great success in doing that. And so, because it gives you some things that you wouldn't maybe normally think of. You could write different sounds out on little pieces of paper, throw them in a bucket, and, draw them out and try. Use your imagination. For some people, it's real easy. Oh, I'm Moonflower. Okay. If that's that easy for you, that's awesome. But for most people, choosing that name, it's kind of like parents trying to choose a name for their child. Okay. It can be daunting, but it needs to be something that you really like. So, just really take your time with it, and don't make it stressful. Making it stressful makes it so much harder. Have fun with it. All right. It's like a rebirth for you or something, because you're putting on a different persona, and this name is aiding in that. So make that important. And once again, it needs to make you feel witchy, so that you're separating from this mundane world when you're working magic. You'll use that name to sign your petitions. You'll use the name to inscribe on candles. Whatever you're doing, you're going to be using that name to add strength and everything to your magic. Your public name, you're just simply going to use it when you're out in public if you want to be known. Some people do that because they don't really want people knowing their real name when they're off at a festival somewhere, and the people don't really know them. So it's a incognito type thing, that this is just what you're known by. Granted, whoever's running the festival will usually need to know your real name in case of emergency, but those are on records that are put away. but just in general, you walk around and this is your name. Okay. So, and in a coven, that name is only used in that coven. All right. So, it's not to be told, because then that's a link back to the coven. There's a lot of really important things with our names. Our, the name that we go by in general can have its own meanings and things like that. I've noticed that people name certain things all seem to have similar characteristics. So sometimes it's a good idea, if you're associated with a name that has a lot of bad vibes going on with it, and a lot of people, doing bad things that have that name, change it. Go by your middle name or something. There's nothing wrong with it. But, names have power. Okay? So think about it. Work hard on this, and have fun with it at the same time. If you come up with a cool way to find a name, hey, drop it down in the comments. It may help somebody else, because there's a lot of different ways to do it. There's no right or wrong. It's what works best for you. But if you know of some other ways of finding your magical names, please put it down in the comments. Somebody else may see it and go, hey, let me try that one, because nothing else has worked, okay? I appreciate you so much, and I love y'all's comments. I love the extra added things that some of y'all add, and it means a lot to me, because you're not only watching and responding, but you're also putting out things that help others. And this is important to me, is helping people. So when y'all help me help others, it means a whole lot. So if you haven't, clicked all the little buttons, the bells, the subscribe, the like, all those little things, and I really appreciate it. And those of you that want to buy me a coffee, links in the description. If you don't, no hard feelings, but I appreciate those that have. So happy naming, and I hope you come up with wonderful witches names. If you come up with a great public name and you want to share it down in the comments, please do. I love to see what people come up with, and I love to see what y'all's public names are. Please do not put your private names, but be sure to share your public names if you like. And so until the next time, I really hope that you all have wonderful days full of good health and prosperity and protection and love. And I'll see you on the next video. Blessed be.